In the modern age, men are drowning. Drowning in distraction, drowning in temptation, drowning in habits that drain their vitality before they can ever rise to their true potential. We live in a world where strength is mocked, discipline is considered outdated, and indulgence is celebrated as freedom. Yet freedom without control is not freedom. It is slavery to desire. Among the greatest hidden teachings of history lies the practice of semen retention. It is not merely about abstaining from lust. It is about mastering the very essence of masculine energy. For centuries, warriors, sages, monks, and philosophers spoke of this power. They knew that semen was not just a biological fluid, but the carrier of life force, willpower, and creativity. To waste it mindlessly was to throw away the fuel of greatness. This is not just an act of discipline. It is a declaration of war. War against weakness. War against distraction. War against the part of yourself that would rather settle for comfort than rise to conquer. The man who practices semen retention is not running from pleasure. He is charging toward power. He is not avoiding life. He is preparing to master it. He is walking the warrior's path, the seed of power. To understand semen retention, one must first understand what it represents. Semen is not ordinary. It is the concentrated essence of life. Within a single drop lies the potential to create another human being. It contains vitamins, minerals, proteins, enzymes, and most importantly, energy that the body builds with tremendous effort. When this essence is wasted through indulgence, it is not just the body that is weakened. The mind becomes foggy, the spirit becomes restless, and the fire of will begins to fade. But when conserved, this energy rises upward. Ancient yogis called it ajas. The Chinese referred to it as jing. Warriors saw it as the reservoir of strength and ferocity. The truth is simple. What you conserve, you transform. Retention is not suppression. It is transmutation. The energy that once would have been spilled outward is instead redirected. It fuels your mind, sharpens your focus, enhances your confidence, and ignites your ambition. You feel more alive because you are no longer leaking life. A warrior who conserves his essence carries a different aura. His presence is sharper. His eyes are intense. His handshake is firm. People cannot explain it, but they feel it. He is grounded, radiant, dangerous in his discipline. This is not superstition. It is biology, psychology, and spirit united. Discipline as the forge. But retention is not easy. It demands discipline, and discipline is forged in struggle. A man who cannot control himself is not free. He may appear strong, but he is enslaved by his urges. Think of the warrior. He trains not for comfort, but for combat. He rises before dawn, sharpens his sword, hardens his body, and tempers his mind. The warrior knows that indulgence makes him weak, and weakness is death. Similarly, semen retention is training. It is self-mastery through resistance. Discipline is not about denying yourself. It is about directing yourself. When you hold your seed, you redirect desire into determination. Lust becomes fuel for learning. Temptation becomes energy for creation. Idleness becomes fire for ambition. Every time you say no to your lower self, your higher self grows stronger. You are reforging your mind like steel in the flames of discipline. And with each victory, you become less of a slave and more of a sovereign. The warrior mindset. The practice of semen retention cannot be separated from the warrior mindset. This is not the mindset of an ordinary man. It is the mindset of one who lives with purpose, danger, and honor. The warrior does not live to consume pleasures. He lives to conquer himself and the world before him. He lives by a code. For him, semen retention is not merely a habit. It is a weapon. It sharpens his will, intensifies his focus, and grants him the stamina to endure what ordinary men cannot. A man addicted to lust is easily controlled. He is distracted, restless, and weak. He cannot focus long enough to achieve greatness. But a man who conquers lust conquers fear. He becomes untouchable. Because the world's greatest chains cannot bind a man who has mastered his own desires. The warrior mindset is about embracing struggle. You will feel urges. You will feel temptation. But instead of yielding, you fight. You remind yourself that victory is not measured in moments of pleasure, but in decades of mastery. A true warrior would rather bleed in battle than kneel in weakness. He would rather channel his fire into building an empire than waste it in moments of shame. And when he looks in the mirror, he does not see a slave of urges. He sees a general of his own destiny. Motivation and momentum. Retention alone is not enough. The energy must be used, not just stored. Imagine a river. If blocked, it stagnates. But if directed, it powers mills, nourishes fields, and moves ships across the sea. So it is with your sexual energy. When conserved, it must be channeled into training your body, into reading and sharpening your intellect, into your craft, your work, your vision, into building relationships, businesses, or legacies. Motivation is the fire, but momentum is the sword. Retention gives you the fuel, but you must wield it. Otherwise, it turns into frustration. The warrior understands this. He trains daily. He moves forward without pause. He uses his energy as a weapon against mediocrity. Every day you wake with energy, you must ask yourself, will I waste it or will I wield it? Philosophy of power. The greatest philosophers understood restraint. They taught that indulgence without wisdom leads to ruin. Socrates warned against uncontrolled desire. The Stoics spoke of self-mastery as the highest virtue. Semen retention is not just biology, it is philosophy. It is a declaration that you are not an animal but a man of reason, that you do not serve your urges but command them, that you live for higher purpose, not lower pleasure. Philosophy teaches us that freedom is not doing whatever you want. It is doing what you must, guided by wisdom. True power is not in conquest of others, but in conquest of self. The man who retains is a philosopher warrior. He unites thought with action, discipline with fire, strength with wisdom. He does not reject the world. He masters it by first mastering himself. Learning through struggle. Every man will stumble. Every warrior has scars. You may fail in your practice. You may fall into old habits. But failure is not the end. It is the lesson. When you relapse, do not drown in guilt. Study it. Ask yourself, what triggered me? Where was I weak? How can I guard myself better? Like a general after defeat, you must analyze the battlefield. Learn, adapt, strengthen your defenses. Becoming untouchable. When you practice retention long enough, something changes. Your voice deepens. Your energy radiates. Your walk becomes confident. Your eyes burn with intensity. People feel your presence before you speak. You are no longer ordinary. You have become rare. In a world where men are slaves to screens, lust, and indulgence, you stand as a fortress of strength. You are untouchable, not because the world has changed, but because you have. The path forward. Semen retention is not just about holding back. It is about rising higher. It is about becoming a warrior in a world of weak men. It is about mastering discipline, fueling ambition, and living with purpose. And in this conquest, semen retention is not just a practice. It is the sword he wields, the shield he carries, and the fire that burns in his soul.